I've been trying to take the next steps into finishing up the gas tank so I can kind of put it up there for good and leave it. I actually took it back out because I painted the gas straps, and I also wanted to make sure the fuel sender and everything worked fine and all that, or the sender and the sending unit and the fuel pump and all that ran. So I got that all in there and good to go. So now I've been kind of waiting because I wanted to put some compression fittings on the sender itself. So I was kind of waiting because I thought I had to buy some, but I actually have a bunch that left over from my what's it called, my Caprice build. So I don't know why I have so many. I know I ordered some at one point for the original build, and then I had to change when I changed the intake manifold to a Trailblazer SS intake. I must have had to order some extra ones, but they were bigger, so I don't know. They were bigger fittings. They were dash, I think I went with dash 8 or 10 fittings because I had to modify the fuel rail that goes over the intake. So, but I must have ordered extra fittings somehow and just didn't know it. But in any case, it worked out to my benefit because I actually have exactly what I needed. So what I'm gonna do is actually on the sender itself, they have these type of fittings here, these kind of like press-on fittings that you put on there. Sometimes, you know, these have a habit, I guess, of blowing off, and luckily I've never had one blow off. But I actually have a small little solution to this on my Caprice that I did, but I'm going a different route on here. So on the sender itself, the 3/8 and 5/16 line, I guess the 3/8 should be the feed, the 5/16 return. I actually have these two compression adapter fittings, and you know, they're Earl's fittings. So I guess their particular name for them is aluminum tube adapter. So what they are is basically a compression fitting, something similar to this, and they have a sleeve of some, I forgot what this exactly is called, but basically you basically put one end on the tube, and then this is your compression sleeve or whatever it's called, and then you basically have a middle piece like this one that goes in between the two, and then you just basically tighten them down, and it basically compresses that bushing fitting in there, and it makes a tight seal against your fitting. So that way you can actually run any adapter on it or connect the tube. In this case, you know, this would be connecting two ends together. In this particular case, what I'd be doing is adapting this fitting on the end of the tube so I can then run a dash 6 actual swivel fitting like this on it, and then the other end will actually be the fuel line. So it'll just make my life and install a lot easier. That way I won't have to battle with these and putting that little sleeve tool inside here to kind of compress and open this and pop out. I can just simply just unscrew it and then be good to go if I ever needed to drop the tank down again or whatnot. But that's the route that I'm gonna go here, and it's clutch because I actually have 4 of these swivel type fittings that you actually make your own hose with. So that's pretty dope, and they're dash 6 lines, and that's what I was just gonna run anyway. I would potentially was thinking about running dash 8, but just in case I had room to grow, or you know, I have more room to grow. But I already have these, and these fittings are fairly expensive, so I might as well just use them. So I got a 3/8 compression adapter tube fitting or whatever you call it, 5/16, exactly what I needed. And then this here is another of one of these, and I'll have to still use 2 of these because these are actually from ICT Billet. I found them a little cheaper through ICT Billet. This is a 5/16 one. We'll then need a 3/8 one because I'm going to run the Corvette style fuel filter, and these have there's two fittings, a 3/8 and a 5/16 on the Corvette style fuel filter that I will need to run these type of fittings on. So I have the fuel pump already installed, and I have the line installed and everything. So this is actually the fuel pump is inside. It's actually a Walbro 255, which should be plenty for my build. So the fuel pump's inside. It's already ran and everything. I soldered the wires together and covered them with shrink wrap, and everything's good to go. This is what I'm talking about here. So they have these style like clip-on fittings. Let me grab my other fitting real quick so I can show you. Here. So these actually, so this little nylon piece is what's on here. So basically, if this wasn't here and I were to slide it on, it would snap in. I don't want to go that route. There's probably really nothing bad about it. But what I'm gonna do is actually, you got a 3/8, 5/16 return line. What I'm gonna do is use this compression fitting. This unscrews. Then I put one end on, and then put the little compression sleeve on there, or whatever it's called. I'm blanking on what it's called. Then I put the other end together, and then I tighten them down, and it'll give a nice tight seal on that, and then I should be good to go. What I'll probably end up having to do though is, there's this little nub here, like right here, and what I'll probably have to do is cut it back, or cut that off right there, so that way that nub isn't there, because I'm going to need to get further back than where this little nub is. So I'll probably have to cut it off there, and then use that compression sleeve adapter 2 fitting and be good to go. Your boy has been steady on the grind, and as you can see, yeah, I've been on my grind. So apologize for the lighting if you can't really see, but as you can see, I had to cut a hole in the tank, or in the trunk, and when I went to install the gas tank, it basically did not fit as I had anticipated. So I only had a couple options, and the best option for my particular build at this time was to cut a hole in the floor. This is how it's been done before during my research, as far as the B-body gas tank swap into a Chevelle, so, or an A-body, because the tank is actually fatter and it's just bigger overall. So and it has this huge hump right here, and that's actually the problem. So when you actually try to install it, it sits unlevel and it sits really low. I thought I was going to be able to get by and maybe putting like some foam, maybe spacers. That's why I have this little double-sided tape, but that did not work at all. And actually the fuel sender was actually hitting the bottom of the floor pan or trunk pan instead of this. So it just did not work, and it didn't look good. And so I decided to go ahead and cut the floor, trunk floor out, and I did not want to. This was my absolutely last resort, and I'm kind of bummed because this floor is, as you can see, pretty dang in good shape. But what I'll probably do is, if I ever go back to a stock style tank, or something that actually fits this trunk floor pan a little bit better, and I end up taking this out, or you know, sometime down the road, maybe selling a car and some guy wants to return it back to stock, I'll probably keep this piece. I actually cut it all out in one piece, and I took my time. That way, if I ever wanted to put it back as it was, it could just be welded in and then smoothed it out, and then you got your original floor back. So in the meantime, what I'll probably do is have my buddy who's gonna paint the car, he's also a body guy, I might have him make me something similar to this. That way it can actually just sit over the top. And I was thinking about maybe either putting like some hinges here, like not like door hinges, but like a hinge or something like that. Maybe something similar to like a center console door that opens up. It's kind of like those hinges on like a center console, and maybe putting it here, and then put some type of weather stripping or something around here that has a good seal. And that way, maybe if I ever need to access the tank or the fuel pump, I can just simply lift it up and back down and be good to go. So that's my idea with that. That way I don't have to butcher up the floor anymore, and that way I have easy access to this pump if anything ever happens. So that's the plus about it, and I'm happy with that. I also had to redo the straps, and it wasn't too bad. The gas tank strap on this side right there was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but they just both had to be shortened, and I shortened them up and everything, and they're good to go. So they actually in a weird way, it actually worked out better that I had to do it this way, because I was actually able to rework the straps and get them fitting a little bit better and more snug. I also put these gas tank, I don't even know what they're called, gas tank straps, or like cushions or insulator pads or whatever you call them. Got that from eBay, put those in there as well too. So that's where I'm at on this, y'all. Little hiccup, but it ended up working out good. So I got that in there. I'll get that taken care of. I'm plugging away on it, y'all. I'm plugging away. I got new, oops, sorry it's a little dark in here, but I got new rear brake lines. I put those in. I ordered those off eBay from N-Tube, or I got N-Tube brand. But I ordered those, so I got new rear brake lines, and nothing else has really changed in here. What I'll probably do is start working my way up towards the motor and start piecing this together. That way I can get this thing running. I painted that, I have a, what is that thing called? LS1 style water pump. So I have that, I painted that, and then I'm gonna have like all new accessories in the front, and a different accessory kit and power steering bracket and all that. So I'm still gonna run the truck style water pump. I'm just gonna buy an ICT Billet, I don't know, alternator and power steering pump bracket set. I have a power steering pump. This is a manual, so I got that as well. So I'm gonna try to install that. And then I'm gonna put all the brake lines and master cylinder and brake booster and all that in, and then wire it all up, and then I should be good to go. And I have to finish the transmission install as well. I need to order a new flywheel with the adapter, so I can bolt this 2003 6.0 to a Turbo 400. And I'm hoping the transmission is good and my rear end is good, and that way I can just move it, put it on the trailer, take it to my buddy, and be good to go from there. So I'm just trying to get it running, y'all. I'm not worried about installing the heat or anything like that. I gotta also rework the engine wiring harness for this particular car. It's actually already pretty good. I just gotta reroute some wires and everything, and the whole engine harness itself to run the vehicle is actually already good. I got a whole setup for Holly that makes it pretty easy, and then after that I can just take it to my buddy, have him do the body work, and then when I get the car back I can have him or I can finish everything else. I gotta put new, what are those things called, ball joints in. I gotta put new tie rod ends and all that stuff, but I'm trying to get it to him quick, that way I can get this car to him and paint it and body work all done and get it back. So that's pretty much it, y'all. Stay tuned for more. Again, actually everything has been going pretty smooth. I just had one slight hiccup with this, but it ended up actually probably turning out for the better for my particular situation. Oh, you guys can see those new brake lines right there. So the new brake lines, I got to just mount those in, but other than that, we good, y'all. So stay tuned for the next video, and I'm out. Deuces. Later.